What's going on out there, everybody? Welcome to another Addicted Fishing podcast. Sitting here in studio with Mr. Jason Harbson from Steel Obsession Guide Service. Now, quick question. As we get into Springer season, does it turn into Springer Obsession Guide Service?
Nope, still Steel.
Still Steel?
Still
It's
Steel.
always just, it has
Always
a place in your
Steel.
heart. It's a place in your heart.
Always Steel, and just for you, the extended Steel.
Steel is always solid.
Versus Luigi's, versus Tag Ends, versus
No.
Scale Obsession.
No, none of the above, but Steel Obsession.
Steel Obsession Guide Service.
Four eyes.
And the guy that's standing about 3.5 feet taller than Mr. Steel Obsession.
I'm standing on a
Guide
box.
Service. All right, Mr. Jarod Higginbotham
Yo.
from, of course, Yakima freaking Bait. Probably responsible for killing more salmon and steelhead in the Northwest than I would have to think about any other company. Like, really, think about it. You guys make the spin and glow, make
Yeah.
the rooster tail.
Everything.
I mean, okay. I mean, obviously, Fish Flash, a bunch of great products too. But
Yeah.
I mean, we'll lean on those two: the rooster tail and the spin and glow. I doubt there's been a lure that has caught more salmon and steelhead than a spin and glow in existence.
Yeah, in the Northwest, I would guarantee that for sure. You know what I mean? People ask me questions all the time about what lure do you think has caught, the most salmon and steelhead. And they're thinking maglip. They're thinking, whether a fish flash and a bait or a spinning fish or whatever it may be. And by far, it's got to be a spinning glow. I mean, we sell millions of those things, right? And so, a lure that you can plunk 3 at a time. You got 3 chances, on the Columbia a lot of times, or, you're fishing for kokanee, you're fishing for walleye. I talked to Babe Winkleman one time at ICAST. Cody Herman and I were there, and Babe Winkleman comes in and he's talking to me, and he's like, his very favorite walleye lure ever is spin and glow.
There you go.
So, it's like
Yellow white wing spin and glow.
yellow, white wing. Imagine that.
man.
The clown spin and glow, right? With white wings. Who'd have
It's got a
thought?
little flotation, and guess what? You can keep your client's freaking gear off the bottom with it because it floats already. You don't have to deal with all those stupid little pills. Do you guys make the pills?
Flotation.
They're called corkies.
Oh, okay, so you don't make the pills. Yeah, so why deal with all
We do
those
make
stupid
winners.
little pills
Yeah.
when you can just use a
Jagged
spin
little
and glow?
pills.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, and we make winners, which are like a spin and glow body. They're just kind of a little bit more elongated, and they're like a fish pill, but they're a little bit more cone shaped. So,
Dude, you guys make freaking everything though. Like for those
Yeah.
that don't know, like you guys make spinnerbaits.
we do. We make Hildebrand spinnerbaits. And so one cool thing about Yakima Bait, right, is we have more products that have had over 60, 70, 80 years in existence than anyone in the Northwest by far. You think about it. Rooster
even
Tail
close.
since the 40s. Spin and Glow since the late 40s. Hildebrand since 1899. Flatfish since the 1930s when Charles Heaton invented them, right? And so we have all Corkies same way, right? Winners, Wobble Glows.
Corkies,
And-
don't they call those beads now?
So the OG bead, yeah, that's right, bro. So
bead.
if you were talking about like
Come on,
an
come on,
OG
Jason,
bead,
OG bead.
right? Corkies
It is
are
the
like the
OG bead.
Snoop Dogg of fishing, right? They're like the OG godfather of bead
enough.
fishing, right? So, so we make a lot of those products that have been around for 60, 70, 80 years, right? And they're still kicking, right? And there's still growth in those products. And, a lot of our new products like the Maglip and the Spinning Fish and those are, growing exponentially. And so, it's kind of cool to be part of a company that has this long-term longevity in multiple markets with multiple products, so.
No, there's no question too. I mean, obviously on Addicted Fishing, like custom maglips. I mean, no brainer.
bro.
The maglips
How
are
long-
money.
Maglips have only been out probably 10 to 15 years?
So I worked at Hammers Outdoor World from 2006 to 2012, and when the Maglip had been out longer than that. The Maglip were originally the M2SP Flatfish. So for those of you who remember, the M2SP Flatfish was like a M2, but that's what the 4.5 came from. It's the same size, and it has completely different action. But they named it M2 SP Flatfish, so it got categorized with flatfish. It wasn't like the lure it is now. And then Buzz Ramsey went to work for Yakima Bait, I believe, in 2010. They had a contest on iFish on how to rename the product from M2 SP. Perry Harvester, who is a wildlife biologist for WDFW, actually won the contest. Came up with the name Maglip, and the Maglip was reinvented. And the store I was working at the time, Hammers Outdoor World in Union Gap, was the first store to get the new Maglip in the new packages. Buzz came and did a seminar on them at my store. I had 2 guys go down 500 fish over Bonneville. 2 guys come in, bought 6 thumper plugs and a 4.5, went down, limited out with 4 fish in like 2 hours in front of 30 boats. And so over the next few weeks, the Maglip thing went ballistic in my shop. And so literally I have been around and I've watched the origination of Maglip start in my retail store, and now I work for the company that makes them. So it's cool.
But
deal.
when Buzz got
That's
involved
awesome.
with the Maglip too, like then you started breaking into the other sizes, like the
Yep.
3.5s.
Yeah.
I know the 3.0s. I know the 3.0s and the 2.5s have not been out. I mean, when we're talking spinning glow longevity,
Yeah, no,
Hasn't been
they're
out that
minimal,
long.
minimal. But so the first size was a 4.5. Then Buzz designed the 3.5. I came on shortly after that, and then I helped Buzz design the 5.0. And then next we did the 3.0, and then we did the 2.5, and then the 4.0 was the last in the whole category. And so, like I tell everybody, there's a little bit of Buzz in every maglip, and the process of him designing those lures and showing them to me, and going through them with like Bob Toman and some of these other guys, and helping us through that process, man. I mean, it was the coolest thing ever, bro, for like, redneck hillbilly kid from Washington that rode his horse to school, and to be designing lures that sent out to people, right? Like, the stuff that we all love and enjoy, like it's our passion, and being taught by these guys was just the coolest thing ever, dude. Like, and so that's, everybody's like, why are you so happy all the time? I'm like, bro, like I have the coolest freaking job ever, right? Like, I'm a
well, you make the coolest,
redneck
and you make the coolest
Yeah.
stuff ever. And just like I said, having the the other big sleeper too, like you said, which was funny because it was the last one out, was the 4.0.
Yeah,
the
bro.
4.0.
That's
I
dude,
mean, we're
so
talking Springer, right in the middle of
underrated, bro.
Springer
Springer
season.
sleepers.
So
for sure.
underrated, man. I mean, it is, it is the one that flies underneath the radar, so much.
Everyone
And-
gets hooked on the 3.5s for steelhead, and then they think the 4.5s for bigger shit.
Yeah, they
but
skip the 4.0. And the 4.0 really for big steelhead, like dirty water coastal stuff, is straight fire, bro. I mean, it's the
Yeah.
right profile, it's got the right dive
Straight
depth, right
fire,
action.
bro.
Straight fire, bro.
I am
Coming in
guilty.
hot.
I
It
am
is,
guilty
though.
of using some 4.0s for steelhead.
Really, I have never.
Yes.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
but Columbia, it's like, oh, there's some steelhead around, there's some summer shark around.
Well, but though,
4.0.
for all of you that have fished exactly that, like the summer Chinook thing, like anchored with K15, how many steelhead you caught?
Exactly.
Plenty.
Right. So why is a K15 too big, but
No,
a plug
I
that's
mean-
half inch shorter isn't? Right. And so that's the whole thought process, right? So, the 4.0, when Buzz and I designed that, like, in my opinion, like my fishiest maglip, and I helped design all of them except for the 3.5. Number one is the 3.5 by far. That thing is just, I don't know, it's an animal. But bro, my number two is the 5.0. The 5.0 is so fishy, dude. And the cool story about the 5.0, so Buzz and I are working on this. This is my very first project at Yakima Bait. And we're down at Drano one day, and he and I are working on this. And we have to go to open fisheries, right? I can't go to a closed fishery and troll a plug for salmon because technically I am fishing, right? When I'm deploying them just to look for action, dive depth, current speed, different things, I have to fish in an open fishery. And so we're at Drano, right? And we're in Buzz Ramsey's boat, and I'm with Buzz Ramsey. He's got his cowboy hat on. Everybody's texting me, hey, you guys getting them? You guys getting them over there? Why are you guys over there in the corner? Well, we're over there in the corner because it's clear water and we can see you see the lure, right? And so we troll this 5.0 around, and these are $1,500 prototypes, and we measure everything with a micrometer from the hook eye, the pull point placement as far as height, distance from the bill, and distance from what we call the wall, which is where the nose comes down. We measure everything from hook hangers, their depths, the weight of the hooks, and everything, the balancing weight, where it's placed to get these lures to do what we want them to. And so we stopped to eat lunch, and we're both frustrated, right? Because we've been working on this project for a while. It takes a year and a half, 2 years sometimes to get things to work right. And Buzz looks at me and he goes, Jarod, we're eating Springer. I remember we were eating smoked Springer sandwiches, right? Because that's what Maggie made for us. And he goes, don't ever do this. And he reaches underneath my seat, and he gets to get up, and he gets a blowtorch out. It's a $1,500 prototype. And he takes this thing and he heats it up. And I'm looking at him. He looks at me. He grabs it on both ends. He bends it just enough you can see it bend. And he goes, that should do it. And he takes the thing. We let it dry for just a second. He puts it on. We put it in the water, and it does exactly what it's supposed to.
You let it dry for just a second.
Just a second, bro. And this is a
Let it harden
$1,500
up.
prototype, right? But that was the lure design, and that's kind of the cool beauty of the maglip is like each maglip is designed the same. We had this criteria for them that was they have to swim to 4 miles an hour, they have to dive to X amount of feet deep, they have to exhibit a skip beat action, they have to do those types of things. And you can get a lure to dive deep, but it may not exhibit this action. You can get a lure to exhibit the action, but it won't dive deep. But then maybe it won't have a speed tolerance. And so that's kind of the cool thing about the maglip and that whole design process. Like you said, the Yakima bait thing, that what we do is like that's how we live. That's what we do. This is our backyard everyday stuff, and so it's really cool to be able to do that and be part of a company that's
And
that
so for
small.
those guys that haven't been throwing like the 5.0s around, like
They're fishy,
is it, a lot of people think that when you get into like slower current, like where I'm fishing and doing a lot of like anchor fishing, for springers or for whatever we're doing, it's like you have a lot of tidal influence. So you got a lot of times where there's no tide, there's no current running,
Yeah.
and then you have a period of time where the current's speeding up and then barreling out. Like sometimes
Right.
it fluctuates every day, and the amount, whatever, we can get into that later. But a lot of people think that when you get into those times where you have the weaker part of the tide, that you actually want to run like something smaller because they don't think it moves. Thank you. I was gonna ask, so
bigger,
so
bro.
is the 5.0
similar
similar to like some of the larger 15 and 16 size plugs you see on the market, where you want to run the bigger nose for the bigger because it drags more.
Exactly, bro. So think of it like a kite, right? You put a tiny kite up in little wind, it's not going to grab that wind and be able to move.
That is the best analogy I've ever heard in my life. But that's why you're Jarod from Yakima Bay.
So here's the deal, right? Like, so if it's me and say I'm sitting on anchor and I know, that the tide is running at 4 miles an hour and the tide's going to continuously go out. Just say this is a special situation and there's never a tide that comes in. And it's going out at 4 miles an hour.
You're in a small tributary.
But it does, but it does slow down, right? And so if that current's like, from 2 to 5 miles an hour, I'm going to want to fish a maglip. And I'm going to want to fish, like a 4.0 in that higher current, a 4.5. And then as it drops down and gets to 2 miles an hour, I'm going to want to fish that 5.0 maglip. Now the beauty, it catches more water, right? And so it's going to move more at those slower speeds. Now the beauty of that is the maglip and the flatfish, people ask me the difference between those. Well, here you go, right? The flatfish has the most action of any banana style plug in slower speeds, right? And so as I get that 2 miles an hour, I'm going to start fishing like a T50 or T55, maybe an M2 flatfish, right? Because I'm going to have more action at that slower speed. Now, when that current gets almost dead to where it's almost silent, I'm going to throw on a T60, which is the biggest flatfish. It's 5.5 inches long. This thing's a monster. You could subdue a perpetrator with this thing, right? Like, it's big. But you put this thing in the water, bro. You put this thing in the water. It's Jarod size. It's a Jarod size. If I hold it, it's going to look like, a Tootsie Roll. Jason holds it looks like a banana. So, yeah. So,
great analogy.
Hey, bro, I'm full of analogies today. But, so what I'm saying is that plug at that slow speed is going to move much better. And so, that's where, like, tools for your toolbox are a thing, right? Like, when I go out fishing, like, I have this storage in the bow of my boat that is absolutely massive, right? It is full of tackle because I want to be situationally prepared for everything that comes along that particular day. And so that's where those plugs come in handy, That's where having a flatfish and a maglip come in handy. Or even like, a killer fish, because they have rattles, or a quick fish because they have rattles and they run up to 7 miles an hour. And so these other plugs, like, Braz and these other guys, they have plugs that are situational for right? Like, and I'm not all about Yakima bait all the time. I want people catching fish. And if I don't have a lure that's situationally perfect for that point in time and you're successful on somebody else's lure, good for you. Like, I'm happy you're out doing it.
So I got a situation for you.
Yeah.
Flatlining, trolling springers. Best plug for that. Because I get real pissed off watching your buddy Shane.
3.5 or 4.5?
3.5 or 4.5, not 4.0?
Dude, so here's the deal. So
we're going to get this skinny here. Because hold on. So I know I punched a nerve there because, like I said, I get sick and tired of watching Shane up there. Freaking the old gorge fisheries. Dude, we won't say river names, but you know the damn two because there's only two of them. And he's always got that Stinger 3. He's always got that Stinger maglip out there.
3.5 Cowgirl. That's the only one he fishes, bro.
It's the Cowgirl.
3.5 Cowgirl.
We're totally outing him right now, but he works for me now, so it's cool now.
He does work for us now. Yeah, but yeah, dude, 3.5 Cowgirl. The funny part is, God, that guy pisses me off. So
3.5 Cowgirl. Hold on, wrapped or unwrapped?
Unwrapped, bro, naked. Doesn't matter. I have the same plug, homie.
Dirty.
Same plug, dude. And he'll roll by me and stick fish on the thing. How deep? How far out are you? 61.5 feet. Perfect. I'll put mine 61.5 feet. 3 fish later. How deep are you? Still 61.5 feet. Doesn't matter, bro. I don't know if it's just Shane and he's got the juju, bro. I mean, his dog's name is Juju, but whatever on that. But the dude is just fishy. But 3.5 or 4.5. And the reason being, bro, is because I think it's a profile size thing. Like, I run the 4.0s a lot, and I do catch a lot of fish on them. But my preference would be the 3.5 or the 4.5. The 4.5 is the most inconsistent of all the maglips. And so you get those, and if you get a really fishy 4.5, dude, fish it a lot. Like, it doesn't matter what color it is, doesn't matter the paint on it, dude, fish it. Because some of those things are just different than others, bro. And I've ran them, I've tested them, we've tested, hundreds of them, and they're the most inconsistent out of all of them, but they're the most consistently fishy for, like, the salmon type stuff.
It's kind of like some of the old school plugs in the market where you bought 10 of them and like 3 of them were smashers. So what Jarod from Yakima Bait is supporting you doing is going and buying like 20 4.5s to make sure you get the right 5.
Yeah, bro. Well, you got to remember, in a lot of these plugs and a lot of these plug makers, the molds are, you don't just have one mold. So it's not just the exact same thing. In the old days, like a lot of these molds that you see nowadays are 20, 30, 40 years old. And so, like our flatfish molds are like 50 years old.
So what makes a good 4.5 though? Is it the depth or is it skip bead or what is it?
It's where you're fishing. So I have plugs, like for instance, if I'm fishing Drano, let's just use a 3.5 for an example.
You said a river name. Don't.
No, I mean I was cleaning my toilet. I was cleaning my toilet.
Reboot.
I was cleaning my toilet, and I had this thought.
Yeah, pretty much. Same
I was
thing.
cleaning my toilet, and I
Got
had
it.
this thought. But if I'm fishing a slower fishery somewhere, and generally, if I'm fishing a maglip and I'm back trolling it in a river for steelhead, or I'm forward trolling it somewhere for salmon, I'm going to fish that 3.5 this way. I'm going to take the original split hooks off of the plug, the trebles. I'm going to, on the rear split ring that's still left on the plug, I'm going to attach a size 5 crane swivel and a 2-aught Gamakatsu Siwash, Owner Siwash, VMC Siwash, Mustad Siwash, all good Siwash, right? 2-aught. I'm going to leave the split ring on the belly with no hook. And that's how I'm going to fish that thing everywhere. Now, when I roll it, and it fishes great because that's what it's designed for, right? It's balanced the same way it is from the factory. And so when I go to other fisheries that are maybe I have to troll slower because of either current or traffic or whatever, I'm going to downsize that same hook with the same rigging, but I'm going to put a 1-aught on it or a size 1 because then at those slower speeds, I'm going to get the same action as I would at a higher speed because a plug is designed to do 2 things, right? Like it's going to give you dive depth or it's going to give you action, right? That's the only energy it has. It has no energy to do anything else. So if you take dive depth away, you're gaining action. If you take action away, most of the time you're gaining dive depth, right? Like most people that know that if you play with a pull point on a plug and you push it up or down, it's going to do certain things for you, right? So that's the same thing that happened right there. And so by being able to adjust those in those situations and not just putting it out and thinking it's going to function is a really good tip, right? Like be willing to adjust your hooks. I have plug boxes and plugs in certain boxes that are for certain fisheries and certain speeds because they perform better in those situations.
I can tell you too, like from just not just maglips alone, but a lot of times, like when I start, like I never really like take these plugs and start manipulating them before I fish them.
Ever.
Like, yeah, I always kind of give them the benefit of the doubt and try to fish them straight out of the package because it's what they were designed to do and then adjust from there. Like if I'm shallow flat lining, like in like 2 or 3 feet of water, I'm using a maglip as a diver, anything of those situations, like I'll start switching out the hooks. But for the most part, I don't get too crazy like that until like you got to like fine tune your fishery. A lot of people think, especially in fishing, that you just always have a silver bullet. All I got to do is put this cowgirl in there, and I'm going to go out there and catch fish like Shane Magnuson up there freaking in the gorge.
It's not the case, bro.
Ain't
Shane
the
can come
case.
out and rig all my rods, and I control right next to him at the same speed with the same line
You
counters and the same
control
depth.
your gear.
And how you run your boat, bro. Like I preach that in my seminars is like, we can run the same gear. I can give you the same exact recipe to a T, and you can run side by side with me, and it's not gonna. You're not gonna produce the same, or I'm not gonna produce the same. But how you run your boat, everyone's boat is different. How it functions in the water, man. And I think that's a huge thing for people to pay attention to. Is like, don't try to be like somebody else. You can kind of like figure stuff out and do it on your own. Like, I troll fast.
The only thing I say to that is if you see someone just out there ripping them and you're not, there's potential.
Something's wrong.
Rip them.
You have room
got
for growth.
You don't necessarily have to copy them, but you have obviously enough fish in the area, or you have an area that's productive enough to where you can elevate your game.
Yeah.
Versus them doing just
100%.
You can fine tune your game.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I can tell you what, guys. Jarod Higginbotham, as always, he's a huge wealth of knowledge. I learned a bunch today when we were talking the old maglip. I appreciate you coming in.
For sure,
those of you guys that are interested and want to hang out with us, of course, we're going to be in Pennsylvania on April 21st at the Bayfront Convention Center, premiering the movie Steelhead Alley.
Love
I think
that
we got
for
a
you guys.
little bit of stuff there. I think, Jarod, you were there for the Portland and the Puyallup premieres.
Oh yeah, brother, that was fun, man.
Good
Those are
That
lights
was a
out.
riot.
I may or may not have showed up as Matt Foley to the Puyallup Bash.
I thought we saw a Matt Foley appearance. I don't know how we pulled that off, because you're probably a little taller than that guy.
Yeah.
But and anyways, guys, be sure to check out your tickets there on addictedfishing.com, or excuse me, addicted.fishing.com. I can't believe I said that. You think after 11 years, you think I'd know that by now? Apparently I don't. Marlon's going to yell at me. Addicted.fishing for your tickets, guys. Be
Marlon,
sure
go
to
eat
check
Johnny.
that out. Thank you, Jarod, for coming into the live feed.
Thanks, boys. Appreciate
For
it.
the podcast, we have a live feed
Live
that we've
feed
got to
coming
do.
Coming up.
Hope you guys are having a good Springer season. Check out the mag lips. Of course, we got our custom mag lips, as always,
Those are sick, too,
on
dude.
Addicted.fishing. And we didn't even get to colors, but we'll save that for the next podcast.
Yeah, yay.
All right. See you guys.
See ya.
Thanks.